Alright guys, I'm just going to show you a riff that involves a lot of right and left hand percussion together, and musically it's very, very simple because it just contains one note. I'm talking about the start of my song Overload from my album Era. Now, I actually composed this song in the bathroom of the Blue Note in New York City. I was doing a show there with International Guitar Night, and because the other players were much older than I took the young person duty of vacating myself to the bathroom to practice so they could have the space. Unfortunately, the bathroom was so narrow, my guitar was up like this, and I didn't really have any room to do any movement. So what I did was came up with this interesting little groove using the reverb of the bathroom as an inspiration. I'm going to play you the pattern, and then I'm going to break it down for you. And this will be a good example of combining left-hand percussion with right-hand percussion in a musical context. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, one note, very, very simple, very, very groovy, okay? All that I'm doing is releasing my fingers in this hand whenever I want that note to happen. But first I'm going to take you through how that beat started. First of all, we're going to start with a kick and snare pattern. We got sound hole kick and a big fat boy snare, okay? And the pattern is something like this, 3, 4. I want you to practice this until you can't get it wrong. I'll add a human metronome on top. Okay. Once I was comfortable with that, I decided to fill in all of the gaps, okay, with as many little notes and little flicks and pops and things as possible. And this is something that you can do to sound very, very unique. All you need to do is sit down and add in little percussive elements. It's the same way that slap bassists come up with their patterns. It's taking maybe 5 or 6 basic ideas and just throwing them in an almost random order, okay? That's how slap bass improvisation kind of happens, okay? So, I'll take you through it one bar at a time. Well, not one bar at a time, I'll take you through it a bit at a time. First of all, we're going to do this. Okay? So we have our kick drum, and we have our bass note. This time, instead of using our grid position with our thumb, we're going to be aggressively attacking it from above with our index fingernail. Then, we got these fingers coming down to mute, just as we talked about before, okay? We want that click. We don't want a note, we just want the click of the strings, okay? Then we have a little chopping pattern, very Petri Sariola-esque, where we have the thumb clicking, but as the wrist spins, we're going to have the ability to come back with the index finger for an upstroke. Very ergonomic, okay? So that is kick and note, followed by mute, followed by this pattern, and as we come up, we can come right back down into one of those big snares, okay? That's what I want you to practice. Okay? After that, we pull off and pick one of those notes, or even a bunch of notes with the fingers. It's a percussive attack, it doesn't really matter, okay? Then we have another little, slightly less ergonomic, but still kind of in the right direction series of notes. We have another kick drum and index finger picked bass note, but that's followed by a click. So you kind of have to bounce down as your arm moves. And that click has a note. Again, from the grid position, hot potato, right? So from the top we have, we're going to add another one of these accents afterwards, okay? That's a kick drum by itself, followed by an up slap. Here I'm chopping up, and my index finger is just striking the bottom string in an upwards pattern. Followed by another accent in the left hand, followed by another big snare, okay? followed by pulling off from that snare to an open note, followed by another accent. And finally, a kick drum to end, and then a kick drum with the note to start the cycle back again. Slowly, the whole cycle sounds like this. 3, 4. Okay, fast. Okay, faster. Faster. All that crazy fun stuff, okay? So that's the first riff in Overload, an example of building a percussive rhythm through filling all the gaps with little tiny elements in both hands. Later in the song, I can take the same rhythm or some chords. All that fun stuff can happen as layers as we're adding music to this percussive element, okay? All of that's available in the tab, by the way, at mikedawes.com. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a good background into percussion. I'm going to teach you one more little riff now from one of my songs involving a little bit of percussion and some nice chords as well. But what I really want you to understand, again, I sound like a broken record saying this, but combine the percussion with music. The percussion should be added to your music to enhance it. That Overload riff is a bit of an anomaly in the sense that the song was built around that groove, but usually you want to kind of add the percussion as icing on the cake of an already established composition or arrangement, okay? But using this grid system and these right-hand techniques, you should be able to achieve any sound that you want from an acoustic guitar. Okay, so here we go, one last percussion riff before we move on.